Jeffrey Epstein was a very, very bad guy, and he's been dead for quite some time. And the justice that he probably should have gotten did not happen. We are all sad about that. But the story of Jeffrey Epstein, or the big bugaboo that is what he did, who he did it with, and why they're not being punished, is not going away. Now, reminder that one, he was arrested and going on trial under President Donald Trump in his first term, and he died under his watch. But the story that was going to go away, that went away, that apparently is not going away, because Donald Trump did, of course, run on, or many folks that were his surrogates ran on the thought process that we need to release the Epstein files, are still out there saying that. Even those that really said it the loudest are now the ones who are saying it not at all, including one Donald Trump. Now, it came to my attention yesterday, late yesterday, when I really put my head down to rest and realize what was going on, that I have been talking way too much about this in a way of talking around it. All the things we're doing, and we're doing the 5 headlines and the hot takes, things like that, have little blurbs like, we're going to talk about Epstein in some other place, some other time. We did talk about Pam Bondi saying she was not going to release anything after saying it was on her desk. We talked about it being extended. We're talking about the MAGA world not want to give it up. But this is a story that I really want to go away, because I don't think there's any real resolution to it, because smoking guns I don't think exist. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. But the thing that really got to me was the past 2 days. Sunday, the 20th of July today. On the 18th and 19th, Friday and Saturday, I posted 2 stories that were essentially the same story. And they were based off a news story, some actual development, but they were the same exact story for all practical purposes, except it advanced the story going forward. On Friday, Trump files to sue Rupert Murdoch over WSJ's Epstein birthday letter report. On Saturday, Trump files $10 billion lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch, Dow Jones, over Epstein's birthday letter story. Because of my personal induction into Trump derangement syndrome, I am getting a bit sick and tired of listening to Donald Trump often, all the time, especially when he's changing subjects to change subjects, literally to change subjects to get things off people's minds. And the fact that he can't get out of the Epstein stuff, a mess of his own creation now, because there's also reports that they had about 4 or 5 different people scrubbing the report itself before they were going to go ahead and release it to make sure there was no instances of Trump's name in the report, in the client list, if you will. I needed to get away. So on this Sunday, I decided to touch grass. I did do as much posting around of stories into the feeds as possible so we can get more things in there to talk about. But I ignored anything on those levels, because I just did 2 stories exactly the same. One was Trump's going to sue, and then Trump sues. So I went to church today. On my way to church, I listened to the news radio going forward. It was Trump and Epstein. I get to church. I have a great morning in church, all the service going on, the chaos it is when I'm deacon of the day. I get in the car to drive to get my hair cut. They're talking about Epstein. I get my hair cut. I drive to one of the box stores to go grocery shopping. But first, stop off at the gas station there. Epstein. Done with gas, park to go grocery shopping. Epstein. Go to another store because I didn't want the large bulk stuff. I wanted smaller stuff to take home for today. Epstein across the parking lot. Drive home. Epstein. So in the total time that I spent out and about when I wasn't doing other things, the only thing being fed to me by the mainstream media, by the news media, was Jeffrey Epstein stories. And this is sort of a package of just listening to news, how radio works. You know, they're always talking about the biggest stories. So you always get those. So when you go in and out of the car, you get those things. That's how radio works, how TV news works. You want to just make sure they get the best coverage possible. It's insane. So what really caught my attention was a small piece of something about a Truth Social post that was just sort of popped in there as a communist, that was a Freudian slip, as a columnist was talking about what was going on as a way to distract from the Epstein stuff going forward, while they really were talking about the Wall Street Journal and how they would fight, and throwing in some Colbert and throwing in some ABC News as well. This thing here, when I went to look up for it, was so outlandish, so crazy, so this does not make any sense. This is well beyond his means of trying to distract, that I nearly fell on my chair when I actually looked at it and found it. And it more or less found me as I was searching my roles, or searching some of the tabs, and searching some of the rankings of stories I had going forward because of my ego. But this is the thing, from the little bit of piece that I got that really was like, wait, what a minute. This is what I saw that caught my attention. This is the second post on Truth Social about this incident, because Honestly, Google apparently didn't want me to see this or wanted to kind of make it go away, but a little hard search got me this second post, which made it worse. My statement on the Washington Redskins has totally blown up, but only in a very positive way. I may put a restriction on them that if they don't change the name back to the original Washington Redskins and get rid of the ridiculous moniker Washington Commanders, I won't make a deal for them to build a stadium in Washington. The team would be much more valuable, and the deal would be more exciting if, for everyone, Cleveland should be doing the same thing with the Cleveland Indians. The owner of the Cleveland baseball team, Matt Dolan, who is very political, has lost 3 elections in a row because of the ridiculous name change. What he doesn't understand is that if he changed the name back to Cleveland Indians, he might actually win an election. Indians are being treated very unfairly. Make Indians great again, MIGA. So if you're a follower of me for a while, you notice that we normally don't do a lot of edits, a lot of stuff. In fact, I mumbled in that reading of the Truth Social post. We usually just let them go because that's how things roll around here. I'm going to do something I don't do often here. We're going to do a series of jump cuts. And I hate jump cuts, but I have to do this very dramatic deep sigh thing that must be done in a jump cut or it doesn't work out. The pause just doesn't make it work out. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Well, that was oddly refreshing. And now that we've done that, let's get you the article or the write-up as per our robot editor so we can do some things that are more normal for the Conversation Project. On July 20th, 2025, President Donald Trump used Truth Social to push for 2 sports teams to revert to their former names, urging the Washington Commanders to revert back to Redskins and the Cleveland Guardians to go back to Indians. He claimed that there is strong support among the great Indian people, I quote, framing the rebranding as erasing Indigenous pride. Trump argued that restoring the names would honor Native American heritage and that the changes were politically driven wokeness. That's changing from commanders to and guardians well, he even threatened to block the Commanders' new stadium plans in D.C., back to D.C., if they did not go back to the Redskins, and brought out a new phrase, and a whole new amount of crazy, make Indians great again, or MIGA. Trust me, it's all over the place on social media right now. Now, despite Trump's actual claims in his Truth Social, both teams' leaderships have publicly decided to keep their current names, and advocates and researchers widely view the original names and mascots as offensive stereotypes. Basically, everybody out there think they're stereotypes and offensive, except for Donald Trump and cronies. Surveys show that the acceptance of the new names are also popular, with the one exception that many people in Washington rather they call it just Washington football team instead of giving it the Commanders. Just call it Washington football team. Trust me, that had a lot of people falling for that one. Now, Trump positions himself as defending tradition and indigenous pride with the sentiment, something he doesn't often do very much. And I guess with the whole deportation things and getting people back who don't belong here, maybe he's doing something for the actual indigenous people here, the actual Native Americans. Maybe. The problem is it's insensitive, reinforces outdated stereotypes and cultural markers, and is plain bad stuff. But it does distract us from Epstein for a slight moment. Also, the stadium threat shows political leverage, not general respect for what's going on, which you may see the articles I've put out there the past couple of days that were technically about Epstein, but really about CBS, ABC, and Wall Street Journal being sued by Donald Trump for political leverage, because it all comes back around, oddly enough, to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this conflict may amplify how sports and politics and culture identity collide under Trump's influence, or if you've known Trump for more than 10 minutes, it really doesn't. But you can watch the growing indigenous voices as they are responding in cries, and I'm sure their elders are crying out as well, with the crazy issue that this might be something that Trump is supporting because he supports it, or he's supporting it to support Native Americans, or he's supporting it because wokeness is gone amok, I guess. And, of course, whether there's any legal political pushback from what's he saying to him, to the teams, to the Native Americans, to any American going forward, and stadium rights and funding and all this stuff like that. Should Washington, D.C. have a stadium in D.C.? Sure. Should the taxpayers fund for it? Probably not. Should Donald Trump have anything to say about this? Absolutely not. But he's Trump. Now, his stance is basically just digging up old hardships about cultural flashpoints. And the familiar slogan being remixed for MIGA is just a whole new thing. Now, will MIGA catch on? Long enough to distract us from something for a while, but not long enough to distract us from Jeffrey Epstein, which unfortunately is not going away until they release something, which probably won't be worth it, or release something that won't have anything in there to go to the point where there actually isn't anything there. Because maybe there actually isn't anything there. It was a big conspiracy ginned up early on because we needed conspiracies. Now they're realizing it's not that great of a conspiracy, and it makes us look bad going forward. But the red meat must be produced. Oh yeah, this was a story about the Washington Commanders, who have been asked to change their names back to Redskins by Donald Trump. At least supposedly that's what this story is about. It's actually a distraction from Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, which is unfortunate because there is no distraction from Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. He's not going away, and he's been dead for how many years. Trump's not going away because he's our president for at least 3.5 years. I don't know what we're going to do about this. I attempted to go out there and touch grass. I tried my best to excise that from my mind for a little bit. But if I can't get rid of it, you guys aren't getting rid of either, so we're all stuck with it together. Make Indians great again and release the Epstein files. Let's do them both.